go. So welcome you guys to week 3 of series 201 in our ambassador training. We are excited that you're all here, and this makes 7 weeks of training that we have put in front of our team here, and we're excited that all of you have made the decision to join us tonight. And if you've been on multiple weeks in a row, congratulations to you. This is just a little bit of time during your week to just invest in your business and take, some notes. And hopefully, if you feel like these are topics that you're clear on, maybe they're giving you some suggestions of how to present these topics to your new ambassadors. And so that's our hopes from these trainings. And so besides, I like seeing your lovely faces when we get on here on Tuesday nights. So let's get started. This is week 3, as I said, of series 201, and we're going to talk about our elevator speech, crafting our story, the shield of confidence, and 3-way calls. And so that's the topic at hand. And I'm going to move along here. I can't see you guys very good, so I'm going to move my screen around. Okay. So here is just a brief reminder of what this training has presented us the last couple of weeks. In week 1 of series 201, we did IPA, which is income producing activity. We talked about follow-up, customer care. Week 2, Melissa did a fine job of presenting to us the power of 3 and duplication, integrity, doing the right thing in our business, self-sufficiency, commitment, avoiding the emotional roller coaster, personal and leadership development. Again, this is week 3. You can see there what we're going to talk about. Next week is week 4 of series 201, and Stacy Lynn will be presenting to us the compensation plan. I just want to briefly say that our dear friend Rachel is going to be presenting to you tonight, and I know that you're probably disappointed that you're going to have to hear me, because she is just full of, she's just awesome. She's full of personality, and anyway, you saw her post, her kids. She's done such a fine job raising her kids that they shared their sickness with her today. So she tapped on me to fill in her spot tonight, and I'm glad to do that. I just miss her because she does such a great job. So get well, Rachel. So let's move on here to our next slide and get started. So we're going to talk about our elevator speech, and you may be thinking, what is an elevator speech? But we're going to hopefully explain that and give you some suggestions of how to get that ready, okay? So imagine, if you will, that you're riding in an elevator with someone and you're small talk, and they say to you, so what do you do? How are you going to answer that? I mean, you're on the elevator, you might have 20, maybe 30 seconds to give them an answer, to wrap it up, sum it up, and so you need to be prepared to do that. So we're going to talk a little bit about how to do that. Your response needs to be short. I'm looking at notes because I don't want to forget something. It needs to be short, it needs to be engaging, something that will grab their attention in a hurry, right? You're on the elevator, you don't have very long. So what can you do to create something that will grab their attention? And so that's what we're going to talk a little bit about tonight. You want to say something in that 20 seconds that could potentially grab their attention, maybe cause them to lean in, ask a question, be intrigued with what you're going to say, and in hopes of carrying that conversation further down the road, okay? So be ready for the next step. Have a business card handy. Have an avenue to grab their information. If it's your cell phone in your pocket, that you can pull up the notes section and make some kind of notes of where you might could connect with them later, an email address, a phone number, connect to them on social media. This is something that you need to prepare. You want to prepare an elevator speech so that when they say to you, so what do you do? You don't give them the deer in the headlights stare, like, I don't know what to say. You want to be prepared. If you got to practice it in front of the mirror, if you have to say it to your friend, it needs to be something that will roll off of your tongue when they ask you. And so something that I might could respond in 20 seconds to somebody that might ask me, so what do you do? This is something that I might could say to them, just something brief. I could say something like, well, I'm blessed to have two of the most amazing and rewarding jobs in the whole world. I'm a stay-at-home mom, but I also have a home-based business where I help people get healthy and achieve their financial goals, okay? It's amazing. I mean, you could just say something like that. That's all you'd have to say. What if that person just looked at me like, okay, like they're not going to respond? I might could tag on a question at the end of that. I could say, it's through a company called Plexus. Have you ever heard of it? So now I've asked them a question that should generate some sort of a response from them. If it's a yes, a no, then you kind of know how to proceed. So that's something really short that should catch their attention, and hopefully generate some questions that would lead us to something further. So what if you're not working full-time Plexus? Okay, so what if you're still working your full-time job and you can't say I'm a stay-at-home mom or whatever I just said? What if that doesn't fit you? Here's something that I wrote down that might be something good for you to consider. Let's just say that you're an accountant on your job. That's what you do. You could say something like, well, I'm an accountant by trade. That's my day job. But my passion is helping people to obtain optimal health through these amazing products, and also offering an avenue for folks to reach their financial goals. You could say something like that. So what you've done now is you've taken the focus off of your job and you've put the spotlight and the passion on Plexus, which is the business that hopefully you're passionate about and that you're looking to grow and spread the word about. So you could just tell them that that's what you enjoy doing. You could also say it's through a company called Plexus. Have you heard of it? When you ask a question, most times that will open a door for them to respond to you, which is what you're trying to do. So it's really short, really quick. You've kind of put in a nutshell what it is that you do, and you've answered that. So what do you do? And you've let the passion show through about Plexus. So an elevator speech, this is what it is. It equals short, passionate, and engaging. So you want to be really concise, really to the point, in hopes of catching their attention, that they will ask you the next question and you can proceed with that conversation. Okay? The next thing we're going to talk about is telling our story. So telling your story can be a little longer than your elevator speech. So remember, an elevator speech, 20 seconds, sum it up, catch their attention, hope for the next move that you can connect with them later. You want to be really careful, though, in telling your story. You often hear probably people say, don't puke Plexus on them, right? So even though you have a little more time when telling your story than you do with an elevator speech, you still want to be precise and get to the point and not take too long. So this is a formula here on the slide that if you can kind of stick with these points, you hopefully can kind of give it all to them, but zip it up rather, quickly, not too long. So this is what it might look like if I were to follow those points. I might say something like, so 4 years ago, I was counting every bite that went into my mouth. I was exercising 5 days a week, and I still had a stubborn 20 pounds that I couldn't get off. What I saw were these amazing products that looked healthy and looked like an alternative, a supplement to add to my regimen that hopefully would help that happen for me. And what I did is I joined Plexus to get the best price on my product. And guess what? That decision turned into an opportunity that far surpassed mine and my husband's full-time income. And we are now super blessed. We've built our home thanks to our Plexus income. And we now are enjoying helping others find freedom from their health issues and reaching their financial goals. That's kind of how I could sum up those 5 points right there. Where I was, what I saw in this opportunity and these products, what I did about that, where I am now, and where am I heading. Right now, we're still pursuing helping others reach their goals and reach their destiny with Plexus. And so that's what we do. if you're not at the same place, maybe you haven't quite quit your job yet. Maybe you haven't reached that point and you don't feel like, well, I can't say that. Well, that's exactly what you say when you incorporate point number 5, when you say where I am going. So you're going to tell us, where were you when Plexus was introduced to you? What did you see in these products or this opportunity? What did you do about it? What's going on with you right now within Plexus? And where are you headed? Is it your goal to be a stay-at-home mom? Is it your goal to eventually quit your full-time job? Is it your goal to supplement your income, to put up for retirement, to start a college fund? Where are you headed with this? So even if you feel like, okay, I haven't quit my job yet, I'm not a stay-at-home mom or dad yet, you still can tell people where you're going. After all, your why is what interests people. You've heard the saying, people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. So telling them where you're going is a perfect thing to put into your story when you're telling somebody your story. Again, just like your elevator speech, telling your story needs to be something that you work on, that you practice. You might want to write it down. You might want to say it over and over. You might want to get in front of the mirror and say it. You might want to say it out loud to yourself in the car while you're driving. I know it sounds silly. It really does. But you guys, if we don't practice it, when the opportunity arises for us to share our elevator speech or share our Plexus story, and we have not put some thought into this, we're going to look silly. We're going to stumble through it. We're not going to feel confident. We're going to, flutter our way through it, and you could miss the perfect opportunity to connect with somebody who's looking to hear more about what we're doing. So take these tips, take this guideline, and get your story developed. Write it down. Say it out loud. Practice it so it just rolls off of your tongue when the time arises to share that. So the next thing is talking to strangers. And that can be scary. I will admit to you, talking to strangers can be scary, but this is the cool thing. If you're honest about it, what is the worst thing that could happen? Okay, really, this takes a lot of thought. The worst thing is you could give a business card to a stranger. The very worst thing that could happen is they can walk around the corner and throw it in the trash. What does that hurt? You're not going to die. I promise you will not die from talking to a stranger. But the best thing that could happen is they're going to share that card with somebody who is desperate for our products. The best thing that could happen is they are looking for an answer. You guys, we have an answer that the masses are looking for. This is the truth. And so sometimes we get in that spot of having to approach a stranger, and it's a little bit intimidating sometimes, a little bit scary. How am I going to say this? Again, why you practice your approaches. That's why you practice what you want to say, so it becomes more natural to you to say it. Some sample cards. We have some tips there. Sample cards are a great tool for helping you start a conversation. I'm going to show, I don't know if you guys have seen these, and I don't know if you can see it here. Okay, so here's my little stick of Slim. This card has a spot that you can put it on there with, I don't know, glue dots or double-sided tape, whichever you choose. On the back, it's got a list of the Slim ingredients. It's got my contact information. So having these in my purse, it really helps if I'm talking to a stranger to put something tangible in their hand, something that they can walk away from our conversation with and remember what we talked about and have some information to go look up later. You know what, this topic, talking to strangers, Helen, you can see her quote there. She's a Diamond Ambassador, and she's a great person, a great leader. She's very passionate about our products. If you don't follow her, I encourage you to do so. But one of her quotes from convention a couple of years ago that sort of stuck with her is, share as if someone's life depended on it, because it just might. What if you are the only voice that your prospect or the stranger that you could potentially be talking to, what if you're the only one that would ever share these products with them? You could potentially have the answer to some issue that they're faced with. whether it's their health or their finances. Really, we have the answer to both. And so this right here, this whole topic, talking to strangers, it makes me think back to series 101, and I think it was lesson 1, where we talked about our why and we talked about building belief. If you have trouble talking to a stranger and believing that you potentially have the answer that they're looking for, then you need to go look at the ways to build your belief. This is so, so important. You have got to build your belief in Plexus products as well as our opportunity. And there are ways that you can build your belief. So if you feel like that's a pretty bold statement to share as if somebody's life depended on it because it just might, that's pretty straightforward. And if you have any doubt about that statement, then I want to encourage you to build your belief. You need to go back and review lesson 1, I believe, week 1 of series 101, and there were suggestions of ways to build your belief. So, so important. So this next thing is really cool. This is our Sheild of Confidence. I don't know if any of you guys have seen this prior to this training, but I really like this tool. It was a mom-daughter ambassador team, not exactly on our team, but within Plexus, came up with this Sheild of Confidence, and it's really kind of spread throughout Plexus. A lot of people train with this and they use this because if you can come from a standpoint of truth and belief and honest, you're going to come across with such more, your confidence is going to be so much better. So I'm trying to make sure I'm saying it how I want to say it. I'm look at my notes. You're going to be able to present Plexus from a point of strength. So sometimes we're presented obstacles, objections, and you wonder, okay, what do I say back to those objections? Okay, so let's just think, what if somebody said to me, how does Plexus compare to XYZ product? Well, guess what? It's not my job to know and have all the answers to all the other companies, the other products, XYZ. I don't know that stuff. So sometimes we feel like people paint us in a corner because they ask us those kinds of questions, and we feel like we don't know how to respond. But if you'll learn to use the Sheild of Confidence, it does not matter that you don't know about other companies. It does not matter that you don't know about other products. But what you do know is about Plexus. And so this is kind of how you use the Sheild of Confidence. With the Sheild, you can stand firm on what you do know about Plexus. You start with the truth, and you can see there in the center of the Sheild, it says your story plus 2 more. So it's not necessary to always share 3 stories, but the reason we say your story plus 2 more is in case you are brand new and you feel like you don't have a story yet, you want to know 2 other stories. But if you have your own Plexus testimony, your own Plexus story, then have yours and 1 more that you can pull from. So you want to start with those 2 stories. Then you're going to pull in 1 quadrant of the Sheild. So you can see, and I've got to move my my box here. It's blocking my. You can see there's 4 quadrants. You can talk about the 60-day money-back guarantee. You can talk about the thousands of testimonials, the growth within the company. You can talk about the scientific research. And so you might want to get really good at 1 or 2 of these. And this is kind of how you would use that Sheild. And I'm going to make sure that I kind of look at this. I don't want to miss anything because it's important to understand how to use the Sheild of Confidence. So if somebody said to me, what about XYZ? This could be my response. I don't know anything about product XYZ, but what I do know is that Plexus products helped me to lose weight when nothing else seemed to work. It's helped me to manage my weight. It's improved my immune system. And my friend Amy, she says that the Slim saved her life and that the ProBio 5 gave her life back. And guess what? Our company has had 16,000% growth in the last 3 years, and that doesn't happen with products that don't work. So what did I just do? I used the Sheild by I can't tell you about product XYZ, but what I can tell you is 2 stories. I told my own and I told Amy's. And then I grabbed 1 quadrant of that Sheild and I told them about the growth of our company. Those are 3 hardcore facts. Those are truths that people cannot argue with. They cannot, it doesn't matter what they say. Those are truths that I know to be factual. And so I've just presented a Sheild. I don't have to know about XYZ, but this is what I do know. And so another way that you might could use that Sheild is if somebody says to you, well, the products are just too expensive. Then you want to use that I felt, I feel, I found method. Have you ever heard of that? So you could say something like, you know, I felt the same way, but I found that it was worth becoming an ambassador to get the best price on my product. And guess what? We offer a 60-day money-back guarantee. If you try these products for 60 days and you cannot say that they make you feel better, they help you look better, they help you whatever, then I will do my part in getting you that money full refund back to you. So those are things. I use that other 60-day money back guarantee quadrant of the Sheild. I told them how I felt in the beginning, what I found out to be the truth, and what about the 60-day money back guarantee. So when you're presented objections, you can use this Sheild to almost detour any of those, because you're presenting truth and you're presenting facts, and that's hard to argue with. And so using this Sheild of confidence can really come in handy when you're talking to strangers, you're talking to people that you know that present you objections. So you want to get really handy with that and learn how to use your Sheild. Okay, so the next thing here is 3-way calls. There's a couple different 3-way calls that we could talk about. First of all, you're going to have 3-way calls for your prospects, potential customers and or ambassadors, and that's what we're going to talk about first, and then we'll talk about the other 3-way call with your ambassadors, your new ambassadors. So what would a 3-way call look like with your prospect? You might want to contact your sponsor or an upline, somebody in your upline, when you're working with a potential customer and or ambassador, and you would organize a time to get on this call. And you want to remember to make this time fun, enthusiastic, laid back. They're not on an interview, but at the same time, you're going to find out some information from them. So if I sponsored Stacy and Stacy was going to sponsor Patty, and she just wanted to introduce her to somebody else in the business, we might set up a 3-way call. And things that you would do on this 3-way call, these are important in growing your business. They're very highly effective. It gives a third-party edification. You again want to make them fun, enthusiastic. You want to make a connection between the prospect and the upline on the call. So, you want to introduce them. If you're talking to somebody who is a stay-at-home mom and your upline is a stay-at-home mom, this is Susie. She's a stay-at-home mom just like you are. You want to make there to be some common ground there. If they're not a stay-at-home mom, you could say, hey, this is Stephanie. She's a stay-at-home mom just like you want to be someday, or whatever. Let them know that this 3-way call is not going to last very long, 15 or 20 minutes, so you're not asking for a lot of their time. And then here's a little outline that you might want to use when you implement a 3-way call. You're going to introduce your prospect and the upline. You're going to ask the prospect, either you or the upline, which is something that needs to be communicated before you get on this call. You need to decide if it's going to be you or your upline ask the next few questions. You're going to ask the prospect questions about what they're interested in. Are they interested in the products, in the business? What are they looking for? You want to tell stories. You want to give information that the prospect will relate to, based on their answer. So as you ask them a couple questions and they respond to you, you want to be ready to connect them, heartfelt stories, ways that they can relate, that can build belief in them, encourage the prospect that they can do this. Tell stories of, tell them I'm going to send you a diamond documentary. If I was going to I'm talking to a nurse who is tired of long hours, I might say, hey, I have a friend named Sarah who was a nighttime 12-hour shift nurse, and she had babies at home and she didn't want to live life like that. So then I could send them Sarah Marble's Diamond documentary and show how she changed her circumstance with this opportunity. So in that call, 15 or 20 minutes, introduce to your upline, ask the right questions. What are they looking for? What are they interested in? Connect them to other stories that they can relate to. If you want to do a 3-way call with a new ambassador, so this is, again, you've got a potential and you've got a new ambassador. You want to get new ambassadors plugged in immediately. So when you sign somebody up, say, hey, I want to introduce you to my sponsor. I want to introduce you to my upline. Do you have 15 minutes? Do you have a few minutes that I can introduce you to them? You get on the call, you introduce the brand new ambassador to your upline, and then either you or the upline need to ask the questions and establish a few things through that with that new ambassador. You want to know their why. Establish their why, and when you ask them their why, the answer could be very shallow. It could be something like, I want to make $1,000 a month. They may think that's their why, but you need to ask them another question. You need to say, why do you want to make $1,000 a month? So the answer to that could be something like, because I want to quit my job. Okay, so why do you want to quit your job? I want to quit my job because I want to be at home with my kids. Or I want to quit my job because I want to travel with my husband. Or you need to ask questions and get to the root of why they want to make $1,000. Why do they want to stay at home? Why do they want to be with their kids? They want to go on those field trips. They want to be the homeroom mom. What is the real why of their joining Plexus? Because the facts are, every day is not a great day. We have down days, and we really have to understand, why are we doing this? Why are we pursuing? Is it because we love helping others? Are we looking to supplement our income? Are we looking to replace an income? Why is it? What makes us get out of bed and do this again tomorrow? What makes me get out of bed and make another contact tomorrow? That why is what keeps us going. So help that new ambassador establish their why. Ask the right questions. You want to cover goal setting with them. And these 5 things that you're going to cover in this 3-way call, we expanded, we covered a lot more detail about these things back in Series 101. So if this means you need to go back and review, then let me suggest that you do that. But goal setting, we talked about that in Series 101, and those are things that you want to go over with your new ambassador. You want to talk to your new ambassador about smart Facebook posting. That's a scary thing too, to make an initial social media post. Some folks are really scared of that. So that's a real important step. It can be really key in folks' business too. So you want to spend some time on that. If it means, let's have a 3-way chat, and let's, get something written up that you're comfortable with posting that will present the most information needed and make an impact, then talk about what you're going to do for that posting. Talk to them about making their list, their Frank's list. And we often talk about putting 100 to 200 names on our list. And that's a little bit daunting, but you need to help them understand the reason is to pour names out of their brain onto paper. And then they kind of go through those names and they star their top 20 names. And then we come up with a plan to help them approach those people to introduce their business and these products to those people on their list. Again, you want to talk to them about resources. It's so important that right away, sometimes we forget as experienced ambassadors, it's part of our life now to know where to go to Diamonds in the Making or Plexus Revolution or Plexus Gems or wherever it is that you go. You know to go to YouTube. You know to go to your back office because that's what we do. But you guys are new ambassadors. They don't know that. And so it is so important from day one that you point them to the right resources. And there are so many out there that I dare say we couldn't get through all of the resources and the training and the videos. And it's amazing the tools that we have at our hands. But as a new ambassador, they need to be pointed in that direction. So these things, if you need some guidance on these 5 things, go back to Series 101 and get all of those resources are listed in detail. Suggestions for Facebook posting is listed. Your Frank's list is talked about. Go back and go through that, because these are things that you should set up a 3-way call with your brand new ambassador, you and your sponsor or your upline, and cover these from the beginning. You know what happens when you do this? That new ambassador feels like they're part of something. They feel like they have plugged into a community when there's more than just one person that they get to talk to. And so it's exciting. You have to remember how you might feel when you get to talk to somebody else. Somebody called me today, and they were so excited about a connection that they had made within Plexus, a sideline of, she said, I feel like I'm in a sorority. I mean, she just felt like she was connected somewhere and had somebody to connect to. And a lot of people are looking for that. And so that 3-way call could be really impressive if you know what you're doing and you will utilize this tool in your business. So you guys, that's it on our training. I'm going to stop sharing and see you guys. So I hope that you have found this helpful, and we are looking forward to next week, Tuesday night. We're going to learn a little more about our compensation plan. If you have any questions on that, I know that Stacy will help answer those questions, and it'll be helpful for you presenting to your new ambassadors. So I'm going to stop our recording. We'll see you guys next week. Hang tight with me here.